You ran Google Ads this year and you found it difficult. That's not being negative, that's being realistic. And you've been thinking, why does this feel harder than last year? It's because it's getting harder every single year. And in a competitive way, not a jolly way like when Santa's coming round. Because fundamentally, you're running a race with no plan and no strategy. And you're going to say, oh, yes, I do, but come on, admit it. You, your agency, your marketing manager, you do not have a written strategy for your Google Ads in 2026. I'm John Langley, founder of Click Convert Marketing, and I know it takes a while to give up on your old ways, blaming everybody else except yourself for your situation. No one knows that feeling better than me. And that's the core issue, isn't it? The chaos of the last few years proves this. I've got it written down here as usual. Failure to plan is simply planning to fail. You know it and I know it. You've felt the chaos. You've lived through the cycles, the heroic saves, the crashes. But where the lack of a strategy, a plan truly hurts, where it becomes painful is when targets are missed, sales are slow, costs keep climbing. You feel that squeeze. And when that pain hits, what do? You start reacting, you start panicking, you fire off emails, you make calls saying change something now. When performance is slow, what does your strategy document clearly say about the precise levers you must pull, in what order, and what are the stop loss situations? What are the risk logs? What are the issue logs you've already got in place to control the situation? And if the answer is, I don't know, or worse, we just scramble until sales or leads stabilize and come back up, then you're operating in the chaos and you're planning to fail. You're literally just throwing money at the pain. And that's a key problem. Without a plan, you are genuinely, as my little fancy expansive diagram shows, planning to fail. What you need is a perfect, repeatable ad system to lock down your goals, identify the gap, define the strategy, and ensure implementation and monitoring of that strategy. Look, you're actually at the moment fighting two wars at once here, and they're both taking your money. You've got bigger players that are entering your market. They're taking market share, impressions and clicks, conversions. They're pushing CPCs up. They're pushing cost per acquisitions up. And they can afford to be inefficient longer than you can. They can outlast you. They can brute force the auction. Even if they go bust, they still harm you along the way. And the second one, Google is trying to remove you from the process. Google, from day one, has been trying to make you do this. Put your card in, do what we say, stop asking questions. Look at the Google highlights of 2025 infographics just being released. It's staggering. Do you know there are over 100 feature launches in demand gen alone in the first 6 months? It's clear Google is just throwing out updates, taking control away and testing them with your budget. So every new Google Ads update is basically, here's a new thing that works, but we've removed half the controls. And when it goes through the same cycle every time, it works initially, and then it falls bang, flat on its face, Google panics, and they reluctantly add controls back in, forced by the backlash in the community. Now, AI, once you add that into a mix, AI doesn't make it easier. AI makes strong operators strong, but sloppy operators go broke. So let me show you exactly why 2026 will force people to either get serious about Google Ads or go bust. But it's not just the repeating Google Ads cycle. AI can't run ads. It's more than that, and I'm going to cover this for you now. It's why people who should help you are the worst culprits. Why Google Ads isn't a safe bet anymore. And the only thing you actually want, it's what I want as well, perfect repeatable weeks, no stress. And the one resolution for 2026 that matters, fix your marketing, starting with a very simple question. It's the big ask. Last week, the Google Ads experts I have here in the team, they're all over there in the conference room having a meeting. And I'm on my own, editing a video with Premiere Pro. And in about 10 minutes, I had 4 phone calls. 4. Hello, I'm calling from Google about your account. Trying to tell me how they can improve performance. Can you believe it? And I sat there thinking, this is hilarious. It would be tragic if it wasn't hilarious. Google's pushing AI like it's some form of magic. And yet the most consistent Google Ads feature is their staff ringing day in, day out, reading from a script, which tells you everything you need to know. Even Google knows deep down, AI cannot run Google Ads properly. Not long term, not in competitive markets, and not when money really matters. And there's some really bad culprits in this as well. Google launch new features all the time, and they're increasingly launched with limited controls. And people go, oh, this is a future. And then it gets a little pop, early performance boost. And the worst culprits here are the very people who are supposed to protect you. Agencies. Ad agencies, they're like influence on the take with Google Ads. They're selling you whatever makes their monthly report look good. They only know slightly more than you in about 90% of cases. Most agencies I view as charlatans. They're not building excellence for you. They're actually building themselves a lifestyle business. They can just coast along nicely. They always have that one big client, the whale, they used to hook you in with. And I bet you that client went years ago too. Most people and agencies want to coast in life. It's this whole new work-life balance. Curiously, I was raised on a farm not far up the road here, and as soon as I could literally walk, it felt like I was herding livestock off a cold, windswept, rainy mountain. That mountain over there. Farming, believe me, is hard. 7 days a week, forget hours, doesn't exist in farming, and you learn very quickly that hard work, passion and talent does win the day. So when Google drops like a new shiny thing, most agencies go full cookie cutter, copying, pasting, ticking boxes, stick it in the ad report. Oh, of course with their bill. They never forget that one, do they? They're not thinking, is this right for your business? They're thinking, brilliant, new feature, new skill on, guess what? My new CV. Bet they even put a linked out post pitching it to future employers. They're not interested in you, their actual current employer. They're always thinking over here about their next employer. And when it goes wrong, do you think they feel it? No. They jump onto the next job. And you, the business owner, are left paying the price. That's why this cycle keeps repeating all the time. And people treat Google Ads like it's a self-driving Waymo car. Controlled, smooth, predictable, all AI and great. Believe me, Google Ads isn't a Waymo self-driving car. Far from it. Google Ads is more like one of those Group B World Rally cars. Dangerous, costs an absolute fortune, and results, winning isn't guaranteed. Look, I can tell you, nobody watching this video is going to get in a self-driving Waymo rally car, screaming down a twisting muddy forest track at 120 miles an hour. Those trees, whizzing past. See? Faith in AI does has its limits. You're not getting in that car. And it's the same with Google Ads. Just because you can tweak demand gen, just because you can tweak performance max, doesn't mean you should press all the buttons like you're playing PlayStation. Without a system, you're not optimizing, you're just poking a honey badger with a stick until it bites you. And there's one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to poke a honey badger with a stick, it goes for the genitals. Apparently it's the world's most aggressive animal. So look, so you know the truth now. You know that you've been running without a plan, and you really do know that. So how much more money are you prepared to burn, just light on fire, before you decide to get serious, fix the bleed in your Google Ads account, create a plan and a strategy, and start systemizing that performance? Look, it doesn't matter if it's a rally, e-com sales, or lead you're after, whatever. I know in your heart, you want perfect repeatable weeks that give you wins and consistency. Not a lucky month, not a heroic save, not another month of it's learning. Just perfect repeatable weeks, week in, week out. And to get perfect repeatable weeks in Google Ads, you have to be systemized. Look, staff change. Your ACE account manager goes traveling to Thailand. You don't care. You want results. That car loan still needs paying. You know me and cars. If anybody knows that car loans need paying, it's me. And that's why I've been explaining perfect repeatable ads here, because it's the only way to survive and win at Google Ads long term. The system is the thing. A system can make average people effective. A system can make inconsistent people consistent. A system can create perfect repeatable outcomes. And that's what I've done with the perfect repeatable ads. Repeatable steps, repeatable order, every week. So performance becomes, of all things, boring. In a good way. Because boring is profitable. Right. Christmas is here, and then it's going to be New Year. So here's my actual takeaway for 2026. It's simple. Fix your marketing. Karen, my wife, and I have a saying: no sales, no business. Sales solves most problems in business. I'm really happy when sales are great, predictable and repeatable, just clicking along. But before achieving the perfect repeatable week, I was like an angry honey badger on those slow weeks. But your first step, the only step I want you to think about is ask. Ask, is your starting point for Google Ads a written strategy? Is your strategy written down for 2026? Ask forces you to stop and define the plan you've been missing. Look, it's simple. A, assess. Where are you now? And I don't mean vibes, I mean the truth. What's your revenue? What's your lead flow? What's your margins? What's working? What's broken? Now it's the S, strategy. Where do you want to be by Christmas 2026? Not a bit better. Be specific. Paint the picture. You must be able to describe what it feels like and what it looks like. As if you were on a driving tour, driving your dream car through the bends and the mountains of Switzerland. And I talked about that in another video. And then K, know the gap. Once you've got those two pain points, where you're starting from and where you want to go to, the gap becomes obvious. The gap is the proof that you need a written strategy. That's what you've been missing. 2026 is the year you make the change. Not by pressing more buttons, but by putting a system in place that bridges the gap consistently, week in, week out. And that's literally the perfect repeatable ad system. You tell us where you are, you tell us where you want to be, and we bridge the gap with the perfect repeatable ad system that helps you achieve perfect repeatable weeks. So, take that step. Scan the QR code on the screen now. Visit clickconvertmarketing.com or email me, john@clickconvertmarketing.com, and get a consultation with us. And let's map out where you are now, where you want to go, and what has to happen between those 2 points. So, have a great Christmas and make 2026 the year you actually fix it. Reach out and get your free consultation today. Have a great Christmas, guys.